Coast Guard yet, and they had just made it under the I-278 bridge. It was at this moment they received a hail from the Coast Guard. "Stop your ship and prepare to be boarded." The captain and his men quickly spotted the small cutter heading their way, but they did not appear to have any heavy weapons on them other than a 20mm cannon and a couple of 50 cals. This was more than enough firepower to disable their ship, but not if Hamadi acted quickly. "Full speed ahead," Captain Hamadi ordered. He prayed he would be able to get close enough before the Coast Guard ship decided to engage them or could disable their vessel. Suddenly an urgent voice filled the bridge. Zulu warrior, this is Lieutenant Willis of the U.S. Coast Guard. Stop your ship and prepare to be inspected. Acknowledge." The ship was nearly to full speed, and they had just passed the Statue of Liberty on their left and Battery Park on their right. The radio came to life again. Zulu warrior, stop your ship and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply, we will fire and disable your vessel. Acknowledge." Hamadi continued to ignore their desperate pleas for him to recognize their warnings. He could see the Coast Guard ship repositioning themselves so they could have a better angle to shoot, angling their propulsion and engine room to the rear. At that moment, the I-75 bridge moved into sight. Captain Hamadi grasped the detonator in his right hand, and as he depressed the button, he let out one last Allah Akbar. Lower Manhattan. Jeremiah Nolan was a rising star at J.P. Morgan. He had made it to the big leagues as a trader, and over the past 2 years had built his book of business to over $192.3 million. With his new promotion from senior advisor to vice president, he felt that he had finally arrived. Bigger commissions, company stock options, and a bigger piece of the action. He was handling the higher net worth clients now. He had earned a lot of money for his clients by buying railroad stocks, which had gone through the roof with the increased demand the war was placing on the manufacturing sector. He had also made several smart investments with a couple of companies that provided very specific component parts to the new Pershing tanks and the Razorback helicopters, the two most in-demand items of the war. As Jeremiah looked out the window of his corner office, he reveled in the fact that he had finally moved out of cubicle land. Suddenly, the late afternoon became incredibly bright. Something powerful reflected off the building windows across from his office, forcing him to bring his hands up to his eyes to protect them as he turned his head. His metal and plastic chair quickly fell apart, dropping him to the floor. He looked down at his hands to see his skin liquefy and melt right before him, right before his body drifted into unconsciousness. The super heat generated from the nuclear device caused the structure of the building to liquefy. The structure imploded on itself and then dispersed into 1,000,000 pieces of flying debris as the shockwave of the blast slammed into the expanding inferno. Jeremiah's hopes and dreams vanished into an untraceable film of radioactive dust. Jersey City. Lisa Thomas was shopping at the neighborhood Whole Foods grocery store with her 2-year-old daughter, waiting in the checkout lane. Like all rambunctious 2-year-olds, her daughter was trying to pull at the candy and gum to add other items into the cart as her mother was placing them on the belt for the cashier. As Lisa reached down to pick up something that her daughter had dropped off of the floor, there suddenly appeared a bright flash near the entrance of the store. Thinking it must have been lightning for a brief moment, she placed the dropped item back where it belonged. Seconds later, the entire front wall of the store shattered, sending thousands of shards of glass flying into the store. Then the structure of the store imploded, and everyone at the cashier stations were thrown like rag dolls against the aisles from the several 100-mile-per-hour winds. Lisa was swiftly impaled on part of the structure of the building. The last thought she had before everything went black was of her daughter. About 4 miles away from the blast site, Claudia Alvaros was finishing her shift as a nurse in the oncology ward of New York Presbyterian Hospital in Queens. She walked to her favorite diner, ready to eat some breakfast for dinner, and unwind with a Sudoku puzzle before heading home to her cats. Claudia knew a thing or two about the direct effects of cancer. 5 years ago she had lost her daughter, Diana, to an aggressive brain tumor. The pain